We have a beautiful new truck attached to a very dirty Eleanor, but the question is not, can we get our RV clean? The question is, how is the new truck gonna handle the RV? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy campers.
And after losing a combined weight of more than 200 pounds,
we realized we had so much more energy for activities.
Come along with us as we explore the great outdoors.
And join us on a brand new adventure.
So we're gonna try to go on more RV adventures. And now we bought a brand new truck to help us with that. That's going to allow us to get better fuel economy while we're towing our RV. It's going to allow us to go longer distances in between fuel ups, and it's going to let us get out of the state of Florida, going into mountains and areas where we may need a four-wheel drive. The question is, how is this new truck going to handle Eleanor?
Yeah, because we need to kind of test that before we take it on the open road.
So here's the thing, we are going to, over the next couple of months, be really working on upgrading Eleanor. We're doing things like putting bed lifts in. We are installing solar panels. We are changing out the batteries in our RV to add a lot of battery power because Rachel wants to have air conditioning whenever we go boondocking. But we're going to be adding a lot of weight into the RV, like upwards of 300 to 400 pounds in batteries alone. So to do this safely, what we need to do is go weigh the RV at a truck scale and find out how much does the whole thing weigh and what is the tongue weight, because we're going to be putting a lot of that weight towards the front of the RV. So we're going to head down to Weston, Florida to the Seminole truck stop because that is the closest CAT scale that is actually working. I called another place that is a little bit closer to us, but they said their scale's not working. So we're going to take this drive down to the Seminole truck stop. The good thing for this is it's about a 21-mile drive in each direction. So this is going to be a good tester to see how does the truck handle the RV. I'm sure it's going to pull it fine because it's got more power than our old truck. But I'm curious about sway, I'm curious about braking, and most importantly, I'm curious about fuel economy. So we're going to reset everything on the computer and we're going to see how does the truck tow the RV, how does it feel, and then most importantly again, what's the fuel economy we're going to get. So the first thing we're going to do is actually set up the trailer. So we're going to make sure it is in the correct drive mode. So we've got it in tow haul, and then we're going to go over to the screen and set some things up there. So we're going to press towing, and we're going to select our active trailer, which is going to be Eleanor, and it asks me for all the weights and all that kind of stuff. And this will actually keep track of what our fuel economy is while we're towing Eleanor alone. Now, in order to be fair, what we're going to do is we currently have a quarter of a tank. Don't pay attention to that 76 miles to empty. That's because I was running it just in the driveway and I wasn't driving, so it's kind of all off. We're going to reset everything. So we're going to go to trip 1. We're going to reset this. And then we're going to also reset the fuel economy. So far it's pretty good. The truck is handling the RV very well. I barely know it's back there. One thing that I am noticing that I had to turn off is this truck has the lane assist feature. It comes with the towing package where it basically keeps you in the lane and it vibrates and pulls you back if you leave the lane. And I generally have that on, and I'm not liking it with the trailer, so I turned it off. It's just a bit of a nuisance, and I don't like the way it pulls you back and forth if it detects you're going out of the lane. So not sure if it's something I will keep off forever, but for right now, I definitely don't like it on. But as far as everything else, I had to adjust the brake gain. Every time I was pressing on the brake, I felt the trailer kind of bucking me a little bit. So I've got it down to a 4.0, and now it seems just perfect. When I press on the brake, The trailer's not pulling me. It seems to be absolutely perfect at 4.0. Again, it depends on your trailer you're driving. It'll definitely know more once we actually weigh the trailer. So as far as fuel economy, I'm super impressed. You know, it's got us at 12.7, 12.8 miles per gallon. That's driving around 65 to 70 miles per hour. And that's also including the fact that I turned that on the second I left our community, or before we even pulled out while the engine was still on. And so that included driving through the community with all the stop signs and stoplights and everything else. And from the time that I left our driveway until I got on the turnpike, which is a couple of miles, it actually had me somewhere around 6 or 7 miles per gallon. So we had to obviously, you know, account for all that, but it just actually hit 13 miles per gallon while we're driving. And considering the old truck was getting about 8, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm sure that as we break this in, it'll definitely change a little bit, probably improve. Also, I'm driving in the tow haul mode, which tends to lower your fuel economy. One thing that I think is really interesting is that driving between 65 and 70 miles per hour, the RPMs are super low. I mean, I'm somewhere around 1,200, 1,300 RPMs. I've seen it crack 1,500 a couple times, but it's down there, somewhere around 1,200 RPMs most of the time. I mean, I'm looking right now, and I'm like one line past the 1. So we are almost to the weigh station. I'm actually hoping that they're open, but even if they're not, I'm glad that I was able to do this, because it's just giving me a good feel for driving this truck with Eleanor, because it definitely is different than driving the old truck. Okay, got some weight tickets here. So I weighed twice. I'm going to talk about why in a minute. I'm also going to talk about a big screw up that I did when I was doing this. And originally I was going to go over one of the weight tickets, and then I was going to disconnect and go weigh a second time without the RV. But a bunch of trucks started showing up. They wanted to park. I didn't want to be in the middle of the truck stop this whole time, even though I could have easily parked, which is what I did. But I didn't want to be there longer than I had to be. So I figured it would be easier to just get the whole process done and then drive down the street. But I did want to talk about the process of weighing. It was very, very easy. I highly recommend downloading the app. You don't need to. You can be a cash customer, but there's no advantage to it really, because you don't get a discount or anything like that. And you have to get out of the truck. You have to go inside. You have to see the cashier. You have to press the intercom button. With the app, you don't have to do anything. You just have the account. You roll up on the scale. You say, yep, I'm here. This is where I'm at. It verifies your credit card, and in 20 seconds, you're out. You never have to go inside. It emails you the results, and it also allows you to download a photo of it. So you can go inside and get tickets, which I did. And that's because I want to be able to go over them with you and I didn't want to have my phone and try to pull it up in the phone and memorize the numbers. It was just easier to have it in my hand and read it. But I highly advise using the app. It definitely made it a much simpler process. So I've got 2 weights. The first weight is with the RV. The second weight is without the RV. And that's so we can figure out how much does the RV weigh. So my screw up was the weight, including the RV. I did not undo the bars for my Hensley hitch. So you have the 2 weight distribution bars, which kind of take some weight and help it even out and put some weight to the front axles. I didn't disconnect those. So we're not going to get a true weight when it comes to our tongue weight. We're going to end up having to get a tongue weight scale and figure that out later on. But we do have some good news and we have some bad news. So the weight with the RV, front axle, 4,360 pounds, rear axle, 4,440 pounds, trailer is 6,820 for a total gross weight of 15,620 pounds. The good news is we are legally towing, sort of. So what do I mean by that? So the trailer is 6,820 pounds. I know I've double axle. Each trailer axle is rated for 4,440 pounds. So that is what, 8,800 to 8,900 pounds. And so we're well under that. We're 2,000 pounds under the amount of weight that can be on our trailer axles. The front axle, 4,360 pounds. According to the sticker on my truck, you can have 5,200 pounds on the front axle. The rear axle, 4,440 pounds. According to the sticker on the truck, it's like, I think 6,300 or 6,200. I don't remember the number off the top of my head because it's on a sticker on the door. And I know that the payload capacity or the cargo capacity of this truck is just over 3,000 pounds, which is not bad considering this is a diesel engine and it's an XLT. So a diesel engine weighs about 700 pounds more than the gas engine. And what that means is that would come off of your payload capacity. So if I didn't have the diesel engine, I'd probably have about another 700 pounds of cargo capacity. And that's why a lot of people are towing illegally. So their truck may be capable of towing 12, 13, 15,000 pounds, but that doesn't mean they can legally do it because they don't have the cargo capacity for the pin weight. They don't have the cargo capacity for, you know, whatever your tongue weight is. And that cargo capacity or the payload capacity includes your tongue weight. It includes the weight of you and everybody else in your car, which for Rachel and I, that's, you know, right around 300 pounds, 310 pounds. So that's not a big deal. And then whatever you put in the bed of your truck, plus any accessories you put on the truck. So like I put an air pump on the truck that weighs an extra 40 pounds. So all of those things take away from your cargo capacity or your payload capacity. So at least for me, I know that we're good in that aspect, that we're not over on our trailer capacity. We're not over on our axle ratios. So on the truck itself, without the RV, we're at 4,700 pounds on our front axle, 3,000 pounds on the rear axle. So the RV is actually with my Hensley hitch. So this is a good screw up, I guess. We're actually taking some weight off of that front axle and putting it onto the rear axle, and the rear axle is at 4,440 pounds. So we're about equal there, 4,400 on the rear and 4,360 on the front. So whereas without it, we're at 4,700 and 3,060 with on the rear one. So my total gross weight of the truck is, with me in it, 7,760 pounds. Here's the problem. 15,620 pound gross weight, 7,760 pound gross weight of the truck. When you subtract that, we're at 7,000, I think it's 7,860 pounds. The problem is the GVWR on our RV is 7,850 pounds. That means we're overweight on the RV. And I don't even have a lot of stuff in there. I haven't put my batteries in there. Now, a few things that are going to affect that number. The Hensley hitch weighs like 200 pounds. I do have some solar panels on the roof. They're coming off, new ones are going on. But I haven't added 300 pounds of batteries yet. So if you add the 300 pounds of batteries, we're now more overweight. We're like another 300 pounds plus other stuff, probably 400 pounds overweight. There's 3 more solar panels supposed to go up there. So now we're probably closer to 500 pounds overweight. So I'm going to have to go through the RV and figure out what is going on. So I'm sure there's things that we're going to have to take out of the pass-through to be legal. And then I do know that I purposely weighed with about a half a tank of fresh water and probably a quarter of a tank or maybe a little bit more in the black water tank. And I did that on purpose to kind of get an idea. But it does mean we are overweight on the RV. Okay, got back home. Some interesting results as far as the fuel economy for driving. So heading over there, we got just under 13 miles per gallon. That was leaving the house, getting over there, driving on the highway around 65 to 69, 70 miles per hour. And then getting off on the exit, driving the local roads, getting to the truck stop. Then coming home, I reset it when I left the truck stop. Now, when we were at the truck stop, we did have the engine running, so that affected things. So that's why I reset it again to see what it was going home. Now, going home, we had a significant headwind, and it really affected our fuel economy. So like I said, just under 13 going over. Well, coming back, We drove 33 miles. I got 10.3 miles to a gallon. So I lost 3 miles to a gallon coming into the headwind. Overall, we did 74 miles and I got 11.5 miles per gallon. So not as good as I would have liked to have seen, but I think it will improve as we break in the engine and as we get accustomed to driving style. Also, you know, going to try to not just sit with the engine idling at a truck stop sometimes. And when you're out on the road, just going 65 miles an hour on long trips, obviously you're going to have better fuel economy than setting it and then driving local roads, because that's going to affect it very quickly. It's much better than our gas engine. Our gas engine, that trip probably would have been 7, maybe 8 miles to a gallon. I mean, when we would go to the Keys, we were lucky if we got 8 miles to a gallon. So it's still better than what we were getting on the gas. It does mean that we won't have to fuel up as often when we are taking long trips. Again, we were fueling up like every 100 to 150 miles. This does have the same size fuel tank at 34 gallons. So we'll probably get another 50 to 75 miles, but we're going to change out the fuel tank in this. We're going to take this one out and we're going to put in a 60-gallon fuel tank, which will enable us to go a lot further. So right now, though, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go clean the RV. Rachel's like, I have to clean the RV. And since I have it out, we're going to grab the pressure washer. I'm going to clean the RV. And then after that, I'm going to start going through and seeing what has to stay in the RV, what would I like to keep, and then what is just extra weight that I just don't need. I know one thing for sure that I'll probably take out and not carry, at least in the RV, will be our Blackstone. So the last few camping trips, we really haven't even used the Blackstone. And maybe what we'll do is if we're doing a long camping trip where we want to have the Blackstone, we'll just throw it in the bed of the truck and not have it in the RV. Once we get all our batteries installed, we'll probably go reweigh and see where we're at. And hopefully we don't have to make any other modifications, because I'm definitely doing the battery thing. But again, I know we're adding in some weight. So I'm going to go start doing some of that stuff.
You gave Eleanor a bath.
I did.
And she needed it.
She really did need it.
She was borderline embarrassing. Now, speaking of embarrassing, I have an embarrassing topic. How did she do on weigh-in? Don't listen, Eleanor.
Not good.
What? What do you mean not good?
Not good. Eleanor needs to go on a diet.
How much over is she?
Well, okay, so I've got some good news and some bad news.
Well, I feel like the bad news you're already telling me is like we're not in a good range here. But well, what was the good news?
So the good news is we didn't spend a ridiculous amount of money on a new truck for no reason.
Okay, that's good.
Because Eleanor's fat. So
she's fluffy.
So the good news is that we're all within legal towing capacity for the truck.
Okay.
Unless the tongue weight is over 1,500 pounds, which I did not measure that aspect. Unless it's over 1,500 pounds, we're completely good on cargo capacity on our truck.
Okay.
Between our weight and the tongue weight and all of that stuff, we're good on there. She tows like a dream. Aww. Gas mileage wasn't as much as I thought it was. We got 13 going to the truck stop, 10.5 coming back. That's because there was a strong headwind.
It is very windy right now.
It is. And I'm hoping on a highway it averages closer out to 13, but it's still a lot better than the 7 or 8 that we were getting before.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bad news is that Eleanor, as she sits right now, before doing anything to her, she's 10 pounds overweight.
Well, 10 pounds ain't nothing.
Tell that to the DOT officer when they weigh you and say you're overweight, or your insurance company when you get into an accident and they say you're overweight.
Haven't added anything. That's a problem.
It's a problem before, but it's a problem now too, because there are things that we usually tow in here that are not in there. Like the big tent. That's not in here right now. I
promise that I have not pulled a Lucille ball from the long trailer and have hidden rocks around Eleanor.
No, but you probably have 500 pounds in clothes.
Easily. Easily.
No, I'm just kidding. So she's overweight.
What can we get rid of?
And we're looking at adding probably solar panels, batteries, everything about 400 pounds into her. So we need to drop 400 pounds.
We lost the weight and she found it? Is that how it worked?
Pretty much. So what we need to do is go through the RV and see what can we dump.
We could dump the Blackstone.
I've got some ideas. That's one place I was thinking, was the Blackstone, because we don't really use it that much. We use it on longer camping trips. So I'm thinking, take the Blackstone out, store it in the shed, and if we're doing a long trip, like 3, 4, 5 days, you just bring it, throw it in the bed. But that easily takes out like 75 pounds.
Because I am not thinking about food as much when we go camping. Like, we'll just grab a bag of like carnivore chips and like hit the road. I want to get out and have adventures, and we've got limited time.
Right. Well, here's my real concern is we didn't weigh Eleanor when we first got her. The sticker on the side says we have like 1,900 pounds in cargo capacity.
Right.
So that means it says that the gross weight of this with everything in it should be 7,850 pounds.
Yeah.
And the weight with nothing in it, according to the sticker, when they built it,
no clothes,
was like 1,900 pounds less. Is whatever it comes out to be, like 5,000, it's like 5,890, whatever it may be. I would have to say, if you took everything that we have in here out, I would tell you, my guess is she probably weighs closer to 7,000 pounds, 6,500 maybe. Like, certainly not what they say she is empty. Now, we have added some things that add weight.
Like the bed.
There's some solar panels on the roof, but they don't weigh a lot. They weigh like 20 pounds a piece. The bed probably added, I would say, about 70 pounds.
Yeah.
The Hensley hitch weighs a couple of 100 pounds.
But we need the bed and we need the Hensley hitch, so you
And
gotta
then
pick something else to
the
throw out.
refrigerator probably added about 50 pounds. I'd have to look up the specs to see what the old one weighed compared to the new one.
Wow.
But it certainly didn't add 2,000 pounds. We
No.
know that. Now, currently, the freshwater tank is half full. We don't usually travel with a full tank, but we do travel with some water in there. And there is some stuff in the black tank, probably about a quarter of a tank. And we do usually travel with that empty, but sometimes you're gonna travel with it full until you can find a dump station.
If I am honest, I have been using Eleanor as a bit of a like off-season storage
Yeah, but
closet.
I don't think you have 500 pounds of clothes. I'm just joking with you.
I don't think I do, but I will say that that is something that no matter when like we go, I always add a few outfits.
Right.
Because it's like I want to wear what I want to wear like right now. So especially since it's not a residential thing for us, I don't need to store as much clothing and shoes and jackets all the time as I have in there.
One thing I will say is this is a good reminder for everybody. Go get your stuff weighed. So just know what your stuff weighs. What does your truck weigh? What does your RV weigh? What is the stuff you're putting in there weigh? And so I would say if you go buy an RV, what you want to do before you put one piece of clothing in there, go to a cat scale and get it weighed. And then you know how much do you actually have to be able to put in there. Because again, if you are overweight and you get into an accident,
right,
your insurance company can and probably will deny your claim if they figure out that you were overweight.
Yeah.
You could get a ticket for being overweight. You definitely don't want to deal with that stuff. So we will get to the legal place. It just means we're going to have to sacrifice a couple of things. Well, that is going to be the end of today's video. Now, please do us a favor. Head down below and hit the like button on this video. It really does help build the channel, but it also lets us know what type of videos you guys are looking to see.
Also, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time, happy camping.
camping.